Okay, Julia, you can do it. You just need to start your personal statement. How about, I've always been passionate about computer science since I was a little baby and my mom gave me my first laptop. That was brilliant. Well done. Time to take a well-deserved break.
Does this sound familiar? Are you in the middle of your UCAS application and time is running out? For all other universities, the deadline for personal statement is 15th of January, but of course for Oxbridge and medicine is 15th of October, so you have to get it in much earlier. I was contemplating whether to share my personal statement, and then I thought, you know what, let's do it, because then you'll see how not to write it, and I will be commenting along. From genuine interest to consummate adoration, this has been my mathematics path, and along the way there has been growing realization and awe. What an opener. Genuine interest, because of course before I was faking it, came at the age of 12. Moving to the UK was the next logical step. Logic here probably refers to the heavy influence of my mom and our savings, giving me fresh insights and perspectives on multifarious methods of solving problems. You see, if I read that in a book, I would think that the writer was so pretentious that he was using thesaurus on every single word. All it really says is, I came to the UK, they were doing maths in a very new and weird way, there were a lot of calculators, zero geometry, and mirrored long division. But let's just call it fresh insights. I then talk about the books that I've read and connect it to the project that I did. It's important to show how one thing led on to another, rather than showing that you jumped into 10 things at once and could juggle them all. I mentioned my taster courses that I went to in UCL and Imperial, and again, as you can see, I connected to the presentation that I gave later on. In the next bit, I move on to maths Olympiads. And then I realized, damn, I've been talking about maths for half of my personal statement already, and I should put in some computer science probably. This was a problem because I was applying both for mathematics and computer science at different universities, so I had to tailor my CVs for all 5 of them. So I mentioned MOOCs, they're absolutely great, you should all definitely try them. I also mentioned Pascal because that's how hardcore Russia is, we're 50 years behind everyone else, and literally one other extra curriculum that we had in our 6th form, which was Raspberry Pi. Even if you're talking about non-academic stuff, try to show exactly what kind of skills you extracted from it. Listing 6-7 things is probably worse than listing just 2, but really elaborating on them. Another hobby is filming and editing. Through my involvement in a film production, I gained a new experience of working with a camera. Well, you can judge that, while improving my leadership and team working skills. Conclusion: there is no doubt that mathematics plays a vital role in our everyday lives. Inventions and innovations in technology would not be possible without the wide knowledge of algebra and calculus. Awesome. That was just 2 sentences that I wasted without talking about myself, and they were pretty generic. I'm looking forward to being a part of your challenging and demanding course. That was a good closing line, I guess. Don't ever write something like, please consider me, I really want to get in. Okay, so I hope you saw that it wasn't very rich, and that's probably because at A-levels I tried to concentrate on my grades so much that I had no time for anything else. Yes, I had some societies here and there, but I could not fill my personal statement with like cool stuff that would make me stand out. I had 2 interviews and only half of one of them concentrated on my personal statement, and the only things that my interviewer picked up was the fact that I moved from Russia to the UK, and so I was asked about how did it feel, and something about MOOC and what it was like to be learning from video lectures and doing assignments. It really depends what kind of things will strike your interviewer. Okay, Julia, so you told me how not to write it, how do I write it? Here are my 7 tips. 1. Pretty simple, avoid buzzwords. Imagine your future director of studies reading through thousands of personal statements. There is very little chance that yours will be unique and amazing, but you can at least help it by not writing things like passionate, interested, and fascinated. 2. Keep the non-academic stuff to a minimum. That one was hard for me because I thought they really needed to know about all my Duke of Edinburgh experience and charity work. They might, but it really depends on the subject. Guideline is 2/3 academic, 1/3 extracurriculum. 3. There is no word limit, but there is a character limit, which is 4,000 characters or 47 lines, whichever one is the smallest. Really use those 4,000 characters. Don't waffle and cut down all the irrelevant stuff. 4. Do not talk about your grades. There will be so many other forms where you will fill your grades, your UMS scores, everything. Personal statement is about you, and it's all about why you want to study that particular course. 5. Give it to someone else who can read it, and that should probably not be your friend. We had a special person who would deal with Oxbridge applicants, and she really helped us all. And I understand that not all schools have it, but just get someone who has good English, it can be your parent, it can be your teacher. Which brings me to the next point: go out there and look for things that people have written and don't make the same mistakes. The student room, again, has a huge collection of personal statements that have been reviewed and for many different courses, so go and check it out. And finally, 7. Remember, that's not the only thing you'll be assessed on. There are interviews, pre-interview tests. Maybe you'll have to submit essays or some field work. I know that in some colleges, director of studies don't even care about personal statements. They will skim read it, and if you don't repulse them, yeah, they will invite you for an interview. Others will actually take a highlighter and go through your personal statement, trying to find things that they will ask you questions on during the interview. A strong personal statement can definitely help an application, but I don't think if you have a weak personal statement that will completely ruin your application. There are so many other things that you need to know about your personal statement, things like formatting, how to start and how to link your paragraphs, and it's all described somewhere on the internet. I will put a couple of links in the description down below and I hope you use them. If you found any of this advice useful, please give it a like, and I will make more videos on how my interviews went and how to prepare for interviews, maybe even with a whiteboard, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Everyone keeps cycling here. And finally, 7. Remember, that's not the only thing you'll be assessed on. Do you feel like ducks are judging you? Because I do.